Most people talk about success as if it's something hiding somewhere out there, waiting to be discovered. But success is not something you chase. It's something you invite. And what determines the invitation is not luck, background, or timing. It's the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you act every single day. The law of attraction is not magic. It's not about sitting still and hoping the universe gets generous. It's about understanding a simple truth. You tend to move in the direction of your dominant thoughts. If you think poor, you tend to live poor. If you think small, you tend to act small. But if you learn to think better, you start living better. Everything begins in the mind. Long before success shows up in your bank account, your career, or your relationships, it shows up as an idea, a vision, a quiet decision that says, I'm capable of more than this. When your mind consistently visits that idea, it starts influencing your choices. And your choices, whether you like it or not, are building your future. Focus is powerful. Whatever you dwell on grows. If you constantly focus on problems, you attract more obstacles. If you focus on opportunity, you begin to notice doors you once walked past. The world hasn't changed. Your awareness has. And awareness is the first sign that success is already moving towards you. Belief plays a bigger role than most people admit. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your belief. If deep down you don't believe you deserve success, you'll unconsciously sabotage it when it arrives. But when belief is strong, persistence becomes natural. You don't quit early. You don't panic at setbacks. You stay in the game long enough for results to catch up. Gratitude is one of the most underestimated forces in success. When you appreciate what you have, you send a message that you are ready for more. Gratitude shifts your posture from desperate to confident, from lacking to growing. It changes how you walk into a room, how you speak to people, how you approach opportunity, and people are drawn to that energy. Your habits are constantly communicating with your future. Success listens closely to what you do daily, not what you promise occasionally. Small disciplines practice consistently attract bigger outcomes than sudden bursts of motivation. When your actions align with your intentions, the law of attraction responds faster than you expect. But here's the part many people skip: action. Thinking attracts opportunity, but action attracts results. You can visualize all day long, but movement is what turns possibility into reality. Even imperfect action sends a powerful signal that you're serious about your vision. Finally, take full responsibility for where you are and where you're going. The moment you stop blaming circumstances is the moment you gain control. Responsibility is empowering. It says, I may not control everything, but I control enough to change my life. Success is not a mystery. It's a process. Think better, believe deeper, act consistently, and stay grateful. When those elements come together, success doesn't need to be chased. It finds its way to you. Success begins with disciplined thinking, not wishful thinking, because the mind is the starting point of everything we become. Most people hope their lives will change without ever changing the way they think, and hope is a poor strategy for progress. Wishing is easy, dreaming is comfortable, but disciplined thinking requires effort, awareness, and consistency. It means choosing your thoughts instead of letting them wander wherever circumstances push them. The quality of your life rarely rises above the quality of your thinking, and that is why success always starts internally before it becomes visible externally. Disciplined thinking is the practice of directing your mind toward possibility, growth, and solutions, even when emotions tempt you to focus on fear or limitation. When challenges appear, the undisciplined mind immediately asks, why is this happening to me? But the disciplined mind asks, what can I learn from this and how can I use it? That shift may seem small, but over time it creates an entirely different life. Thoughts repeated often enough become beliefs, and beliefs quietly influence every decision you make, from how you speak to yourself to how boldly you pursue opportunities. Wishful thinking, on the other hand, avoids responsibility. It waits for motivation, perfect timing, or external rescue. Disciplined thinking accepts that success is built, not granted. It understands that you cannot control everything that happens, but you can control how you interpret and respond to what happens. When you train your mind to think constructively, you stop reacting to life and start directing it. What you consistently think about begins to shape what you notice. A disciplined thinker becomes alert to opportunities others overlook, not because opportunities are rare, but because focus sharpens perception. When your thoughts are aligned with growth, you naturally move toward environments, people, and actions that support success. This is how the law of attraction works at a practical level. Your thinking influences your behavior shapes your habits, and your habits determine your results. Discipline in thinking does not mean ignoring reality or pretending problems do not exist. It means refusing to let problems define your identity or your future. It means feeding your mind with ideas that strengthen you rather than weaken you. Over time, disciplined thinking builds confidence, clarity, and momentum is what turns intention into achievement. When you master your thoughts, you gain the rare ability to design your life instead of drifting through it. And that quiet mastery becomes the foundation upon which lasting success is built. What you consistently focus on quietly shapes your results, whether you are aware of it or not. The mind is always working, always processing, always moving in the direction of whatever holds its attention most often. You may not feel the impact immediately, but over time, your focus becomes your filter, determining what you notice, what you ignore, and what you act upon. Life does not respond to occasional thoughts. It responds to repeated ones. When your focus is scattered, your results are scattered. When your attention is locked onto problems, you begin to see problems everywhere. Conversations, opportunities, and even neutral situations start to feel heavy because your mind has been trained to look for what is wrong. But when you intentionally focus on growth, progress, and possibility, something shifts. The world itself does not change, yet your experience of it does. You start to recognize options that were always present, but invisible to an unfocused mind. Focus is powerful because it directs energy. Where your attention goes, effort follows. If you focus on improvement, you naturally invest time in learning. If you focus on success, you begin to adjust your behavior to match that vision. This is why two people can face the same circumstances and produce entirely different outcomes. One is focused on excuses, the other on solutions. One is watching the clock, the other is watching for chances. Consistent focus also shapes self-image. If you repeatedly tell yourself that progress is possible, your confidence slowly strengthens. If you dwell on past failures, your mind begins to expect disappointment. Expectations matter because they influence how much effort you're willing to give. People who expect little rarely prepare deeply, and people who expect growth are more likely to persist through difficulty. The law of attraction responds to dominant focus, not fleeting desire. A mind that constantly revisits fear attracts hesitation. A mind that rehearses success attracts readiness. This does not mean ignoring obstacles. It means deciding that obstacles are not the main subject of your attention. When focus is disciplined, challenges become instructions rather than barriers. Over time, consistent focus creates momentum. Small actions aligned with a clear focus begin to compound. Confidence grows, skills sharpen, and opportunities align. What once felt forced begins to feel natural. Focus is not a one-time decision, but a daily practice, a quiet commitment to guard what you allow into your mind. When you learn to control your focus, you gain control over your direction, and direction is what ultimately determines where your life arrives. Belief is the invisible bridge between desire and achievement, because wanting something is never enough to bring it into your life. Desire can spark interest, but belief is what gives desire permission to turn into action. Many people desire success, peace, or abundance, yet deep inside they doubt whether it is truly possible for them. That quiet doubt weakens effort, shortens persistence, and keeps opportunities at a distance. You may say you want more, but if you do not believe you can have it, your behavior will always reflect the doubt rather than the desire. Belief shapes how you show up when no one is watching. It determines whether you prep seriously or casually, whether you take bold steps or safe ones, Whether you persist or retreat at the first sign of resistance, a person with strong belief does not need constant motivation because belief itself becomes the fuel. When belief is weak, even strong motivation fades quickly. This is why two people with the same skills and opportunities can experience completely different outcomes. The mind acts in harmony with what it accepts as true. If you believe success is reserved for others, you will unconsciously limit yourself. You may hesitate to apply, delay important decisions, or downplay your abilities. These behaviors seem small, but over time they compound into missed chances. Belief does not just influence what you think, it influences what you do consistently. Belief is built through evidence, and evidence is created through action. You do not wait to believe before you act in small ways until belief grows. Every small win, every completed task, every challenge faced strengthens the bridge between desire and achievement. As belief grows, your willingness to take responsibility increases, and responsibility accelerates progress. The law of attraction responds strongly to belief because belief carries emotional certainty. Emotion gives power to thought. When you believe something is possible, your energy changes, your tone changes, your posture changes. Others can sense it, and opportunities often follow confidence before competence. This does not mean arrogance. It means quiet certainty rooted in preparation and persistence. Belief does not remove obstacles, but it changes how you approach them. Instead of asking whether something can be done, you ask how it can be done. That question alone keeps you moving forward. When belief and desire align, effort becomes consistent, patience becomes natural, and setbacks become temporary. In that alignment, achievement stops feeling like a distant dream and starts becoming a logical outcome of who you are becoming. Gratitude attracts more than ambition alone ever can because it changes the way you experience and engage with life. Ambition pushes you forward, but gratitude steadies you. Without gratitude, ambition often turns into frustration, impatience, or a constant sense of lack. When you appreciate what you already have, you stop operating from desperation and start operating from confidence. That inner shift makes a remarkable difference in how success responds to you. Gratitude trains the mind to recognize value instead of absence. When you focus only on what is missing, your energy carries tension, and tension repels growth. But when you acknowledge progress, resources, and lessons already present, your mind becomes receptive. You begin to see that success is not a sudden event, but a series of small improvements that deserve recognition. This awareness creates emotional stability, and emotional stability supports consistent action. A grateful mindset also strengthens belief. When you regularly reflect on past wins, even modest ones, you remind yourself that progress is possible. Confidence grows not from grand achievements alone, but from remembering how far you have already come. Gratitude turns memory into fuel. It allows you to say, if I achieve that, I can achieve more, and that belief quietly raises your standard. The law of attraction responds to emotio, now tone. Gratitude carries a calm certainty that signals readiness for more. It is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about recognizing that growth is already underway. When you appreciate your current position, you stop fighting the present and start building from it. That cooperation with reality creates momentum. Gratitude also improves relationships, and relationships often determine opportunities. People are naturally drawn to those who appreciate effort, time, and contribution. A grateful person listens better, collaborates better, and earns trust more easily. Trust opens doors that ambition alone cannot force open. Many breakthroughs come not from pushing harder, but from being valued by the right people. Practicing gratitude sharpens focus as well. Instead of constantly comparing yourself to others, you concentrate on your own journey. Comparison drains energy, but gratitude restores it. It reminds you that success is personal and progress is unique. When energy is restored, creativity improves, resilience strengthens, and patience becomes easier to maintain. Gratitude does not replace effort, but it multiplies its effectiveness. It allows you to work hard without burning out and strive for more without feeling empty. Over time, gratitude becomes a quiet signal to life that you are ready for greater responsibility, greater opportunity, and greater results. And that readiness is often what success has been waiting for. Your daily habits are broadcasting your future long before results appear, because habits are repeated votes for the kind of life you are building. What you do once may not matter much, but what you do consistently shapes your dire. Success does not listen to intentions, it listens to patterns. Every habit, whether positive or negative, is quietly sending a message about what you expect from yourself and what you are preparing to receive. Most people underestimate the power of small actions because they seem insignificant in the moment. Reading a few pages, practicing a skill briefly, speaking kindly to yourself, or choosing discipline over comfort may not feel dramatic, but repetition gives these actions weight. Over time, habits become automatic, and what is automatic requires less effort to maintain. This is how ordinary routines slowly transform into extraordinary outcomes. Habits influence identity. The more often you act in a certain way, the more your mind begins to accept that behavior as part of who you are. A person who consistently shows up, learns, and improves starts to see themselves as capable and reliable. That self-image affects confidence, decision-making, and the willingness to pursue opportunity. You begin to act like the person you are becoming, and that alignment attracts results that match the identity. The law of attraction responds strongly to consistency. Sporadic effort creates mixed signals, but daily habits create clarity. When your actions consistently align with growth, your mind, emotions, and environment begin to cooperate. You start noticing resources, ideas, and people that support your direction. This is not coincidence. It is alignment between intention and behavior. Negative habits also broadcast a future even when ignored. Avoidance, procrastination, and self-doubt quietly reinforce limitation. These habits do not usually cause immediate failure, which is why they persist, but they slowly erode momentum. Replacing them requires awareness and patience, not self-criticism. Improvement begins by choosing one habit at a time and practicing it until it becomes natural. Habits create structure, and structure creates freedom. When discipline is built into daily routines, you rely less on motivation. You no longer wait to feel inspired. You act because it is who you are. That reliability builds trust with yourself, and self-trust strengthens courage. Courage leads to bolder choices, and bolder choices open new possibilities. Your future is listening closely to what you do today. Every disciplined habit is a quiet announcement that you are preparing for more. Over time, these announcements accumulate into evidence, confidence, and opportunity, making success feel less like a surprise and more like the natural result of how you have been living. Action is the proof that belief has taken root, because without action, belief remains only an idea. Thoughts may inspire and intention may guide, but movement is what turns possibility into reality. Many people claim to believe in success, opportunity, or abundance, yet hesitate when it is time to act. That hesitation reveals doubt. When belief is genuine, action follows naturally, even when conditions are uncertain or uncomfortable. Action creates clarity. You can think about success endlessly, but only action shows you what works and what does not. Progress is rarely the result of perfect planning. It is the result of learning while moving. Each step forward provides feedback, and feedback refines direction. This process builds confidence, not because everything goes smoothly, but because you discover you can handle challenges as they arise. The law of attraction responds strongly to movement. When you act, you signal readiness. Action tells life that you are serious about your vision. Opportunities often appear after motion begins, not before. Waiting for complete certainty delays progress, because certainty grows from experience. Action transforms hope into evidence, and evidence strengthens belief. Small actions matter more than dramatic ones. Consistent effort compounds while occasional bursts fade. A single conversation, a daily practice, or a simple decision repeated over time can shift an entire trajectory. Action does not need to be fearless. It needs to be faithful to the direction you have chosen. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move despite it. Action also changes self-perception. When you keep promises to yourself through consistent effort, self-respect grows. You begin to trust your ability to follow through. That trust fuels persistence, especially during difficult periods. Many people lose momentum not because they lack ability, but because they lose trust in themselves. Action restores that trust. Belief without action creates frustration. Action without belief creates burnout. But when belief and action align, energy flows naturally. Work feels meaningful, progress feels earned, and setbacks feel temporary. This alignment allows you to remain patient without becoming passive and ambitious without becoming anxious. Action does not guarantee immediate success, but it guarantees growth. Growth sharpens skill, expands awareness, and increases capacity. Over time, growth attracts greater responsibility and greater opportunity. When you act consistently in alignment with your belief, success stops being a distant goal and starts becoming an inevitable outcome of the momentum you have created. Personal responsibility is the highest form of attraction because it places the power of change back where it belongs, in your own hands. The moment you accept full responsibility for your life, you stop waiting for circumstances to improve and start improving yourself. This shift is not about blame, it is about ownership. Ownership gives you control, and control gives you direction. When people avoid responsibility, they often give their power away without realizing it. They blame the economy, their past, other people, or bad timing. While these factors may influence circumstances, they do not determine destiny. The disciplined individual understands that results are responses to choices, and choices are always available. Accepting responsibility does not mean denying difficulty. It means refusing to let difficulty decide your future. The law of attraction responds to responsibility because responsibility aligns thought, emotion, and behavior. When you take ownership of outcomes, your thinking becomes clearer. You stop asking who is at fault and start asking what can be done. That question alone attracts solutions. Solutions require effort, and effort produces progress. Progress builds confidence, and confidence draws opportunity. Responsibility also sharpens discipline. When you know your actions matter, you become more intentional with your time, your words, and your habits. You begin to see daily decisions as investments rather than reactions. This awareness strengthens focus and reduces excuses.
Excuses may protect comfort in the short term, but responsibility protects growth in the long term.
Taking responsibility improves relationships as well. People trust those who own their mistakes and follow through on commitments. Trust creates influence, and influence often opens doors to leadership and opportunity. When you accept responsibility, you no longer need to defend yourself constantly. You learn, adjust, and move forward. That maturity is magnetic. Responsibility also brings emotional freedom. When you stop blaming external forces, resentment loses its grip. You conserve energy that would have been wasted on frustration and redirect it toward progress. That redirection changes how you feel about challenges. Obstacles become assignments rather than punishments. Each challenge offers a chance to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. The most powerful moment in personal growth is the moment you say, "This is my life and I am responsible for it." From that moment forward, effort becomes purposeful, learning becomes intentional, and success becomes personal. When responsibility becomes a habit, attraction becomes natural, because life responds generously to those who are willing to carry the weight of their own potential.